From the dawn of man, indigenous people from every corner of the globe have spoken of things that have now been discounted as myth or legend. Things they saw, lived alongside by, were looked upon as deities or worshipped by gods. Things that present-day man refer to as entities, spirits, demons, cryptid creatures, extraterrestrials, and much more. But sadly, modern man, science and society has discounted what our ancestors spoke of as legend and myths. But there are those of us that know what the ancient ones spoke of is the truth. Those of us who are obsessed with finding out the truth. This search for answers brings us into the world of the unknown and unexplained. It brings us on the trail, in search of living legends. Please join us tonight in another part of our journey to find these answers and bring the truth out into the light. Welcome.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition. Well, welcome to edition of Notes from the Field. Or Jesus, what am I thinking, Sean? Another edition of On the Trail in Search for Living Legends. I got a great show planned for you this evening. We've got a gentleman from Scotland.
No, from England.
You made a point to say that, right?
Yes. No, from the north of England, mate. My friend's in Scotland. She's the one who contacted you.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
Yes, Laura's actually the one that made the introduction.
Yeah.
So anyway, guys, got a great show for you playing this evening. If anyone is interested in coming on the show in the future, you can reach Shawn and myself. Reach me at onthetrail.jf at gmail.com, and Shawn can be contacted at onthetrail.sw at Yahoo or Gmail, Shawn?
It's Gmail.
Okay. And we can both be reached on Messenger, however, or right on our Facebook pages. Anything you presume. But,
all over social media.
All of our social media. But anyway, everyone, thanks for tuning in. Like I said, great show. Garey, it's an honor to have you on, man. We really appreciate you doing this with us.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, I've been looking forward to it.
Yeah, for sure. Now, like I said, thanks for coming on. And, I know it's sometimes uncomfortable sometimes talking about these for the first time. I know Shawn and I have been through it, but if you want to just go ahead and give us a quick biography on yourself real quick, you can just tell us what you do and how this all came to be.
Yeah, no problem. Well, I've grown up with wildlife. My dad was a gamekeeper.
Okay.
I've been a gamekeeper in the past, a few various jobs. I've always worked with animals. I'm a farmer now, dairy farming. I don't own the farm, I just look after the herd.
Okay.
And I get out walking as much as I can. I just love being out in the countryside, building shelters with my son and sleeping out. I've always had a big connection with it. Now, going on a bit of a tangent, last year I noticed that the wood ants in our woods were declining. So I took it on myself to start feeding them. And I did that the last summer, just gone, and they multiplied. Anyway, that's by the by, but unbeknownst to me, the Sasquatch family, the clan, have been watching me feeding these ants for the last 12 months.
Wow.
Now, this goes back all my life, but I've only just started to realise this.
Okay.
I don't know how much I should babble on, or whether you want to ask me questions first.
Yeah, it's okay. I just, like I said, I just wanted to get a quick bio. Now, what we're interested, what we're really interested in is what's going on. What are you dealing with? I got a little bit of a description, but as far as, is it two? I thought I heard
2 Sasquatch. No, a clan of Sasquatch.
Oh, okay.
The whole clan. This all took off this tail end of January of this year. But I've been told by the clan that they've known me all my life, and slowly memories have been coming back to me.
So, would you say from a child?
Yes.
From a child, okay.
They talk to me telepathically, by the way. I mean, I'm not
okay.
Who believes me or not. I know this is happening.
No, yeah. Listen, anything you tell us, Shawn and I are not going to think you're not. Trust me.
I understand that. I'm on about people outside, maybe listening. Yep. I don't mind. Yep. People don't believe me. I'm not here to prove anything.
That's right.
I know it's happening.
Yeah.
I've got lots of photos as well.
Okay.
This is of this year, by the way. Now, when I was 14, there was 3 other friends of mine with me, and that's the only encounter that I thought I had. And we was on our way back from a village late at night. We was about 14 years old. From one village to the next village was, say, about between 5 and 8 miles, English miles.
Okay.
And we was coming down this old track that led to an old farm called. Now, I'd say about a third of the way down, we heard a lot of crashing coming up from the woods down to this path.
Okay.
And one of our mates said, "Oh, it's just a deer." And we ignored it, and we heard it again. And I said to Tim, his name was, I said to Tim, "Deer, my dad's been a gamekeeper. Deer don't make noises running through the woods. It doesn't matter how big their antlers are. They seem to be able to just run through without no noise, mate. So whatever's up in them woods bashing about is not a deer."
Right.
Anyway, we was like, "Well, what the bloody hell is it?" So my best friend is called Lee Hardy. He's a giant of a man now, and he was a giant of a lad when we was kids. And he said, "What is it, Gaz? What is it?" Anyhow, we're looking, and you could see the dark blue sky between the trees up the. If you can imagine, you're on a path looking up the bank, so you can see the skyline through the trees.
Sure.
And as he's saying, "What the F is it?" we all could see this silhouette of what. I mean, you've got to imagine there's no bears in England, so if you see something stood up that's huge, it's not a bear. So what is it? And this thing suddenly started moving again, and you could see this silhouette coming down the wood. And we didn't shout anymore. We didn't scream. We just was froze to the spot and sped in. The little fat lad, he took off. And then we all took off. Now, he beat us up to the top road. And that seemed, in my mind, to be our first encounter.
Right.
Now, we all got up the top road and said, "What the hell has just happened?" And we was all shook up, and we said, "Let's just get home and just let's be safe." And we got home. Right. And really, you kind of went through life and just kind of forgot about it.
Yeah.
Until a year ago, I was up in a pine wood that's close to me. I don't want to start giving the names of these places out.
No, we understand that. That's irrelevant.
Well, I was up this pine wood, and I do a bit of flint napping in my spare time. I don't get much spare time, but I'll try a little bit of flint napping. Do you know what flint napping is?
I do not.
I do. We do not. We might have a different name for it here.
It's like making spearheads out of special.
Okay.
either not onyx, flint, either flint or or other stones that you can nap. And you make or arrowheads. Anyhow, I did that. So you need pine resin to glue this onto a shaft.
Correct.
So I was up in this wood looking for some pine resin this last year, and I thought I heard a whoop. I didn't think much of it, and me and my friend have been talking about Sasquatch because we've always believed in it, and I kind of believed in the lines of, it could exist as an animal, maybe lower than we are. By God, have I been wrong about that. But anyway, I thought that whoop sounded different to anything I'd ever heard in the woods before. I've grown up there. And my 3 terriers, every now and again, kept looking at something, but I couldn't see it. And I heard this whooping again. It wasn't a loud whoop, it was a soft whoop. So I did it back, and it lasted for about 45 minutes. And then
that's a long time.
Yeah, well, I was wandering through the woods looking for this pine resin.
Right.
I'm not just sat there whooping to myself.
Right.
No, I'm going through the woods, and every time it whooped, I whooped back. So when I'm in the woods, mate, you've got to understand. They call me the Cheltenham Aborigine, because when I go wandering, I just wander.
Yeah.
Out all day.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Anyway, this was last year, and I found my mate up, and I said, I think I've had an encounter with the Sasquatch, but it's been a verbal one. And I told him, he said, yeah, it sounds bloody possible, mate. Anyhow, and again, forgot all about it, and that was the following year. That was last year. So last summer, that was when I was feeding the ants. And I'd got into that, so I'd completely forgot about Sasquatch, really.
Yeah.
Until this January, I went up again to that pine wood to get some more pine resin, because I put that also on the ant hills, because they use it as an antibiotic, which I found out.
I didn't know that.
I don't just use it for my personal stuff, I use it for the ants as well. So I went back up this year, this January, just gone, and when I was in there, I felt a presence, a big presence in there, and I started taking pictures on my phone, not of anything in particular, just different things. And I found my mate Lee up again, and I said, I've got a real strong feeling, mate, that I'm being watched in these woods. And I said, every time I bend down, because most of the pine resin seeps down the tree, and in England it's kind of gathers at the bottom of the tree, although I could see pine resin had been taken off further up than I could reach.
Okay.
But I'm taking it from the bottom of the tree, and every time I was taking it, a stick was snapping in the back behind me, crack. And it wasn't just someone standing on a twig, it was a stick being snapped.
Yeah.
So I had this feeling I was being watched. So I lifted my jar that I was going to fill, lifted it up in the air. I must have looked daft to anybody who was walking, but there's never anybody in that wood, so I didn't mind talking to myself, I thought. So I lifted the jar up and I said, I'm only going to fill this so that I can use it for my arrowheads and for the ants that I'm feeding back. And I shouldn't have said that because I've just given the name away, haven't I? Anyway.
We can edit that out.
Edit that out if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Anyway, I used it for the ants, and I was letting the Sasquatch know that I could feel they was about, so I was letting them know this is all I'm taking. I didn't want them getting angry because I didn't know what they were at the time. Snapping these sticks behind me. Anyway, I rang my mate, like I say, I was talking to him, and I said, right, I'm going to set off now. This was at about 3 o'clock, he told me. I rang him, and I can check it on my phone anyway. I didn't get back to my car until 5 o'clock that night. Well, my car's only about 45 minutes away from where I'm stood, walking down the hill, maybe an hour at most.
Right.
Well, it took me 2 hours to get back to my car because the bugger's mind's at me. I was walking along and I knew the track was up to my right. where I needed to get over the hill and down the other side to my car.
Right.
I kept turning right. I wasn't getting nowhere near the track. And I just thought to myself, do I panic or what? So I didn't panic. I just kept walking. It was starting to get dark. And I just kept saying to myself, just keep walking. I came to this gate, and cut a long story short, I got back to my car. I gets home. I looked on the map where I'd gone, and I'd gone left-handed, although I wanted to turn right. I'd gone right round the wood, left-handed, until I got to a gate, which was at the other side of the wood, which took me miles away from my car. I had to walk all the way back to it. I kept wanting to turn right, and I couldn't turn right. So I was mind-zapped, and they was just testing me, whether I had it in me to be connected by them telepathically.
Right.
And that's what I've been told later on as things have progressed with my connection with the Bigfoot Clan, they're called.
Okay.
And when I get home, I look at photos, and I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Laura, I don't know, am I allowed to say Laura's name on here?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I sent Lee and Laura these photos, and I'm saying to the both of them, are you seeing what I am seeing? And they was getting straight back to me, oh yes, we are. Laura couldn't get over how good the pictures were. My mate was absolutely gobsmacked. Now, all right, they're not clear.
Right.
But you can tell, I mean, Nita is my guide.
Okay.
Now, I know I'm jumping right forward now, but I've got to start naming names, or else it doesn't make much sense later on. And on one of the photos, you can see Nita peering from behind the tree, and I was only stood 10 feet at most away from her.
Wow.
She's holding her, she's holding her baby around the other side of the tree so the baby can look at me.
Now, when you say baby, Garey, what are we talking?
We're talking baby is held in a wooden basket. She's made a wooden basket
Wow.
for this baby, and the baby's name is Fiteria.
Huh.
Now, I looked at the photo and I thought, hang on, I'm seeing things here. Because to the right of them, there's a giant stood next to them. And that night, I went to bed. I hadn't telepathed to them yet.
Mm-hmm.
When I first looked at the photographs, there was no telepathy. I'm just looking at these photographs thinking, I'm seeing things here. I'm seeing Sasquatch stood in front of me. I'm seeing a giant stood at one side, and she's holding a little baby. And I'm laid in bed, and I'm thinking to myself, what's your name? What's your name? And this, I can't even, it was a deep voice come through. Oh, filet. Real deep into my head. Bang. Oh, filet. And I thought, is that the one that stood in front of me? Or who is it? Anyhow, I ran downstairs and I wrote it down. Because I didn't have a pen next to my bed. I wrote the name down.
Mm-hmm.
And then went back to bed, fell asleep. And that was that. But then, I can't remember what day it was. I've got all this written down. I think it was a Thursday. I come out to my car. I have two cars, one for work because I'm a farmer and it gets full of cow shit. Mm-hmm. And my wife doesn't like going shopping in that car, which you can imagine. Right. I have another car to go shopping in. Well, my work's car, I'll come up to it and there's a little pebble. And at first I thought it was a seed. This is about, say, just shy of an inch long by half an inch thick, and I thought it was a pip out of a fruit, if you understand what I mean. So I put my foot on it, and it was a pebble. So I picked it up, and I thought, that's nice. I had a feeling, is that a gift? So I put it in my pocket and thought out of it, and then I took a photo of it and sent it to my mate on Facebook. Mm-hmm. And I said, I've got this. He said, it's a gift, Gaz, it's a gift, because this pebble If you can imagine, like I say, it's about 1 inch by half an inch, oval shaped. It's the colour of tanned leather. It's quartz inside.
Okay.
Now, when I took the picture of it and sent it to my mate, he said, yeah, it looks like a gift, Gaz. And as I'm talking to him, like I'm talking to you now, as sending him the photo, I noticed, I said to Lee, oh, it looks like there's a Sasquatch face on it. What's the coincidence of that? He said, there are no coincidences, Gaz. He said, but I can't see it. So I outlined it and then sent him a picture again. And he said, yeah, it could be. Anyhow, that week, I was getting a bit jittery because I get every other weekend off the farm. So I was getting a bit jittery of going back up into the woods because this has confirmed to me the Sasquatch wandering about.
Yeah.
You know, when that first happens to you, it's hard work, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
It certainly is.
I mean, do you two want to talk? Because I feel like I'm just waffling on it.
No, man. This story is all about you. We're interviewing you, and we want to know what's going on.
Yeah, this is your show, Garey.
Anyway, I've got this pebble, and I'm getting a bit jittery about going back up into the woods on my own. And I thought to myself, hang on a minute, you've grown up in these woods. You're not going to let anything stop you going back to them woods.
Mm-hmm.
And I kept telling myself that. Anyway, on I think it was a Thursday night, Thursday afternoon, when I come out, I start very early in the morning milking cows. And then I have a couple of hours off midday. I come home, have my lunch, have something to eat, and then I might have a kip for 20 minutes, half an hour. As I was having a kip one afternoon, I was just nodding, but things felt blacker than normal when you close your eyes, if you understand what I mean. When you close your eyes, it was blacker than that. I can't explain why. And then suddenly, these green eyes. Yeah.
Oh.
Hello. Hello.
Oh yeah, sorry. You kind of bleeped out for a second.
All right, I'm back now.
No, you're good. Go ahead and continue.
Yeah, continue. Yeah. Well, anyway, I was nodding off, and it was blacker than normal. As you had the eyes closed, I don't know why it was so black. And these green eyes suddenly shot forward straight at me. Two green eyes from the distance came forward, and it looked like they had a frown on the brow of where your eyebrows would be.
Yeah.
Kind of a frown there. And it made me jump backwards.
Sure.
I went, whoa. And this is as I'm nodding, but that's how it felt. And then I said, be nice, because I knew what it was. For some unknown reason, I knew it was Sasquatch. I said, be nice, because that's not nice. That scared. And as I said that, the eyes relaxed and then went backwards and faded away.
Interesting.
I found out later that was the big fella that stood to the right of the photograph. His name is Ophalay. He is Nita's partner. Now, in the photograph, he stands around about 14 feet tall.
That's a
big
boy.
Now, I've got a photograph of him holding a spear, and I've never known of ancient ones holding any tools, and I've got the photograph. I will send it to you.
Wow. Very nice.
Now, the spear point of this spear looks to me to be 3 feet long. It's huge. He is the hunter of the clan. He does all the hunting. They do not take any farm animals. They only take wild deer.
Yep.
And they eat herbs and other vegetables you can come across in the woodland. And mushrooms and things like that. But they do eat deer. But they will not take farm animals for the simple fact they do not want any conflict with us at all.
Yeah.
I think that's the general consensus we have out here too. They do take farm animals from time to time, but I think for the most part they avoid it because they don't want confrontation with us.
We're a smaller country with a lot smaller gaps between the woods as well, and we only have small woods.
Yeah.
So they can't do it here. They would.
Right. And sometimes I know, a lot of different. We have so many different types here. You'll get those that are more, they'll do it more than others will. Others, it seems over there, Shawn, would you agree on this? It seems like the ones over there that we hear from our UK witnesses that they're a little bit more chilled out.
Yeah, they're more passive for sure than the ones we have passive
here. Yep, yeah. For sure.
I can imagine that. I can imagine.
Depending on the types, though, we have here, because some are more passive, and then we hear about the other ones that are, they get testy once in a while. But for general consensus, they seem more passive out there.
Yep.
So, sorry, Garey, go ahead.
No worries. I agree with that side of things because I have looked into it and I keep trying to work out why. I have been told why, but that's later on. That's for later on in the story because from another clan member I met when I was 14. I found out who he was. His name is Obj. He lives in the other wood, and he is the father of Nita, who is my guide.
Okay.
He's a very big man. He stands about 15 feet tall. Very big.
Good God.
I've got a good photograph of him. I have had permission to share my photographs with certain people.
Okay.
I always ask first because I am in telepathic communications with them. Mm-hmm. I do not want to do anything to disrespect them, although they say that would be quite hard because I have done some daft things in my life and they've laughed at it.
Right.
Laughed at the way I've been, and they've let me grow up because I knew Nita apparently when I was 7 years old, and I'm slowly getting some little memories back now.
Right.
And they said they will come with time as you progress with us, because they look at time as now, but sometimes they turn. If I ask them a question, like I'll give you an example. Everybody who has telepathic communications with Sasquatch always says, "Can I see you in 3D?" They always do. It's human nature. I want to see what you look like.
Sure.
Because when I was taking, pardon?
No, I was just agreeing.
Yeah. Well, when I was taking these photographs, I couldn't see anything. I was just taking photographs, and they stood feet away from me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's something 15 feet tall that I can't see. Nita's 7.5 feet, maybe 8 feet tall.
Okay.
She's a big lass.
Yeah, that's a big female.
Yeah. She's black, where Ophalay's grey.
Okay.
Obj is her father. He's a black Sasquatch.
Now the gray, sorry to cut you off, but is the gray, he's the alpha, you were saying, of the clan?
No, he's an ancient one. There's different kinds. Ancient Sasquatch have more of a human looking face to them than a normal Sasquatch does.
Yeah, and I would tend to, we've heard that before as well.
Can interbreed.
Yeah, depending on type.
The ancient ones aren't quite as, they're not quite as ape-like, if you know what I mean. They're more slender.
Okay.
Well, you'll see that on a photograph anyway.
Okay.
I've lost a bit of track there where I'm up to, so
that's okay.
Where was I up to?
No worries.
I've lost track of where I was up to actually.
You were going through the family lineage.
The family.
Who was who.
And, who's who? Yeah. Well, like I say, OBJ, he's the father. Ophalay is the. Don't call him husband, mate. He's the mate of Nita.
Okay.
Now they live in different woods. Because England's very it's like a patchwork, isn't it, England? It's very small. So they all have their own little territories, and they do get together.
Okay.
And they left me this pebble, like I say, and I said to my friend, I can see a face on this pebble. And he said, I can't see it very well, guys. And that week I was panicking, like I said, to go back up the woods. And come Friday night, my weekend off work, I got quite jittery.
Okay.
And I've got hold of this pebble, and I'm looking at it, and then suddenly I'm looking at this face that I could show my friend and he couldn't really see it. I starts turning the pebble, and all these other faces started turning up, and I'm looking at my photographs over the last 12 months.
Mm-hmm.
And I found Sasquatch in a lot of the photographs.
Okay.
And all the faces are on this pebble. When you turn the pebble in different lights, you can see all the different Sasquatch in this pebble. And it took my breath away, because when I'm holding this pebble right now, and the energy I'm getting from this pebble is unbelievable. It's hitting me in the chest like...
Yeah.
It really does. I'll have to put it down. Sorry. No, it does. It really does.
No, we understand, believe me, because you know, when you start talking about this stuff, and it's almost like reliving the experiences. Yeah.
Well,
we get it.
Well, that pebble then calmed me down, and I was on the computer that night. I was chatting with Lee. I was chatting with Laura about being a bit jittery, and Laura was saying to me, Garey, you've got a gift. Go and use it. Then she said, they're not going to hurt you. They haven't hurt you all your life. And I said, yeah, no, but I still feel a bit nervous. Anyway, we'd stop chatting, and I was looking up at videos on Sasquatch, and suddenly this voice come into me. I'd turned the computer off and come to the front door. You can ask my wife. She was sat on the couch. I turned the computer off without talking and walked straight past her outside, and I opened the front door. And it was a while. I stood on our green outside. There's 6 big trees, sycamore trees, I think, in lines of 3. And the middle row, I was looking up at it, and slowly this grey figure slowly started appearing. And I'm looking up with my neck bent back to look at his face. I couldn't see his face clearly, but I could see his jawline start to appear. It was a very solid jawline. His shoulders were huge, and it was Ophalay, Nita's partner. He projected to me and said, you've got nothing to be afraid of in these woods, Garey. We've known you all your life. You are at one with the woods. You know that as well as we do, so stop panicking and just come back up to the woods tomorrow like you're going to anyway. And he said, now go back in. I went back in, and I'd never felt so much love in all my life for everything. And I sat down and I broke down to my wife in tears of joy. And that was the first time I really, apart from him telling me name, but that was the first time I really telepathed with anything in my life. And I tell you, it's took a bit of getting used to. It's took a bit of getting used to, because I thought times, bloody hell, I'm talking to me fucking self here. And as time goes by, you get used to the different voices, and it sounds mad. Oh yeah, this bloke's a nutter. No, I'm not. These Sasquatch come through to you in different ways. There's different clan members of this group, and they're all completely different characters. And they come through to you when they're talking to you. You can tell you're talking to somebody different. I mean, you're not talking out loud, obviously. Now, they've come to visit me about, I think it's 4 times to my house. Not inside the house.
Right.
They've been outside, either the back garden, mainly the back garden, once at the front with the Ophalay when he first told me to calm down. And as time went on, I started asking, I want to see Nita, because I know Nita's my guide, and I've been told that we grew up as children. I was a child, and Nita's not really that much older than me. Although Sasquatch can live for a very long time, which I found out because her father, he's ancient. He's absolutely ancient. I'm talking 1800s ancient.
Wow.
I mean, I know he's that old because there's some knotted trees on top of the hill that have been there. I've got photographs of them when they was adult trees. They're dead now, long gone, although there's an arch left of these trees that was knotted together. And the story goes that an heartbroken sailor did it when he had to go away sailing for his wife.
Right.
That's the story in the villages. That wasn't the case, because Obadiah, the old father, told me, do you want to know who knotted them trees, Garey? And I said, I already know. It was you, wasn't it? And he said, yes.
Wow.
And they are, I think, I might be wrong, but well, to me, the oldest structures around here that are still standing. And I've got a photograph of that as well, with a shadow behind that is Obadiah when he invited me and my family to go to Arnside, and the clan members came with us. Okay, my children didn't feel them. They said, no, we can't feel it. I said, well, just enjoy the day. But my wife could feel their presence, and my wife is feeling more and more of it now. But that's from a different Sasquatch, but it's the same clan. I don't really know what more I can say apart from I'm enjoying what's... Oh, sorry, I'm missing a real big point. What more can I say?
Okay.
I kept saying I wanted to see one of you in 3D. And the way they turn round, sometimes they can be quite abrupt. And they said, yes, you will see Nita. And me being human, when? And it's kind of, well, not now. That's it, not now. Well, when? Not now. And they kind of raise a voice. And then, right, okay, fair enough, let's change the subject. And then another time, you'll ask again, am I going to see one of you? Because I'm quite persistent. And they laugh about it, actually. And he said, you will see Nita when the time is right. But when you see Nita, you're going to be in shock. I said, no, I'll handle it now, because I'm getting quite used to this. This has been going on for a good month and a half now. I'll handle it. No, you will be in shock. That's the way it comes across. Now, I've heard telepathing. They talk in their language, but when it comes through to you, it's like kind of a universal thing. You can talk in your language and they hear it in theirs. It's marvelous how it works, and vice versa.
Yeah.
It's strange, but I'm going with it anyway. They said I would be in shock. Nah, I'd be fine. I went up the woods, and I could feel the presence. I took some photos, and you can see some shadows, but I'm not going to send you them because they're hard to see. I can see them. There's two of them. There's Seabo. He's very big, huge. And he is Nita's brother. And then there was Ophalay stood next to him, but the very faint shadows. And I've put my camera on time, and then, because I've gone to the same place I've took photographs before to try and get a perspective of me standing next to the tree to work out really how big they are. And unbeknownst to me, there's two of the buggers stood behind me going, cheese, as I've run to the tree to turn around back to my camera. They're stood with me having the picture taken, which I didn't know until I get home. Anyway, I thought, well, I'm going to head off now. So I goes up the track, and I'm looking down, for different, if there's any structures on the floor, how they do with sticks and things. I'm just looking for things like that. And it wasn't Nita's voice, just something came to me, look up. And I looked up, and there's a wall in the distance, a dry stone wall. And behind the wall, I see a figure just standing there. From the waist up. I can see the waist up. Massive shoulders, no neck. I'm seeing Sasquatch. It stood less than 75 feet away from me, just stood looking at me. And I just stood and looked back. And I'm seeing it, and then, well, I know now it's Nita. Well, I know it's Nita anyway, but she wasn't telepathing to me. And she kind of steps back, and they do move like an ape.
Oh, yes.
And she has that sway again about her, and she moved behind a tree and come back from behind the tree, walking forwards. And I'm just stood there thinking, I can't believe what I'm seeing. Although everything's happened to me, I was in shock.
Oh, yeah. We can relate, believe me.
She bends down to the right and picks up either a log or a stick, and I thought, here we go, she's going to hurl that at me. She just tossed it off to the right. And then that's when she telepathed to me, Garey, you're in shock. Now turn around and go home. And that's exactly what I did. I just turned around and walked straight out of the wood. And I thought, what the fuck has just happened? So it was exactly the way they told me it was going to be. You will be in shock. And I rang my mate. You can ask my mate. I could hardly speak. My legs were shaking. And I was in that much shock. And then I rang my mum and dad, because I've told them everything that's been going on. I mean, they're in the late 70s now. Anyway, I hope I got that right. They're in the late 70s. I hope they are. I rang them and I said, I've just seen Nita. My dad was quite emotional. And I explained how it went, and he said, well, you're just going to have to take their word for things next time, Garey. If they say something's going to happen, it's going to bloody well happen.
Right.
They say it's going to, because it doesn't happen any other way. They're the ones who are in charge. It goes their way or none. And that's, I mean, I've had a few different things. I write everything down. I mean, I could go on all night.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
When I seen, that was only a couple of weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, I seen Nita in 3D.
Cool.
And it took my breath away. And
Oh,
I've got lots of footprints. I haven't casted any because I'm not into that. I'm not out.
Yeah.
I like to take footprints because I feel that they've given me them to take a picture of. I've asked later on whose footprints they are, and they tell me whose footprints they are.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Garey, could you describe a little bit of how what they look like? As far, I mean, do they look more human than ape, or
I can
the color of the skin and stuff?
When I seen Nita that day, she was behind the wall. Now I went up to the wall, and the wall is up to my chest.
Yeah.
To see my head above the wall. I'm 5'4", 5'5". And when I was looking at her, I could see her waist up. So, she's a fair sized lass, like, she's knocking 7.5 feet tall.
That's a big girl.
She was black, massive shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
Her head just came down to her shoulders, no neck at all.
Mm-hmm.
Now, she was black as the ace of spades.
Nice.
Now, I couldn't see her face. I was stood like 75 feet away, something like that. I'm good at distance, so I used to shoot.
Mm-hmm.
But the background was lighter than she was, so I couldn't see her features. Now, looking at the photographs, I can see some features. Ophalay, which is her mate, he's got a very long face with a hard jawline, very hard jawline, and a piercing eye. She's got like quite a pretty face from what I can see. I can only see half of it, and a little nose compared with it. She's got a petite nose, if you know what I mean, compared with the face, and maybe quite a broad lip line. How do I put it? I'm not being racist or anything, but
No.
an African man or an African lady's top lip is broader than ours.
Yes.
It was similar to that.
Okay.
Now, Obaj, her father, He's got a beard, a tash, very, very shaggy hair.
Mm.
It's not fur, it's hair.
It's hair, for sure.
It's long. You know, he's got long hair coming off the side of his cheeks, his beard, his tash, and he's black. There's only Ophilet I've seen that's grey, and that's from the photographs, because I've only actually seen Nita in full flesh. This is going off the photographs.
Gotcha.
No.
It's definitely some interesting stuff, Garey.
I mean, once you've seen Sasquatch, you've seen Sasquatch. I mean, the only advantage I haven't got any bears wandering around, so I haven't.
You're right.
You know.
Right.
Oh, the big fella, because we haven't got any 7.5, 8 foot blokes wandering around these woods.
Right.
Although we've got Tyson Fury, he lives around the corner.
Now, one question I wanted to ask you: have you dealt? Now, is that I know from what I've been told from other of our friends in the UK, there's, you guys think you have a few different types, Now, do you know anything about any of the other types, or just the ones that you deal with?
Oh, just the ones just this clan, that is it.
Okay.
That's all I know about.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
I was just curious.
There's about 11 of them in this clan.
Wow,
yeah, that's what I was just going to ask.
That's a good-sized clan, eh, Shawn?
Yeah, that's a big family, for sure.
Yeah.
I came out, my front drive is gravel, and I park my big car on the gravel at the front of the house. Mm-hmm. Now, that was away for MOT. So when they brought it back, they parked it off the gravel. So I just left it there. And I came out one morning, and it's dark, because I'm up at 4 o'clock, I'm out milking cows at 5. And I could see on the gravel, they'd drawn a single squiggly line from my front door going out to the path. But as it got to the path outside, it branched off. And then underneath that, still on the gravel, I had to draw it on a piece of paper to work out what it was. And I'm looking at it, and it looks like a thatched hut they drew. And I'm thinking, well, what's this line going from my door to the path? And I worked it out. Everybody in my house, when you come out of a house, you come out in single file. You got it. You can't come out holding hands. The door's not wide enough. You all come out in single file, and then as you get to the path walking, you branch off. So that's what they drew. And in my head, I thought, I wonder, is this an invite to their home? And then I'm thinking, now they don't live in thatched cottages. Well, I built me and my lad a shelter up in the woods. Mm-hmm. And I made the shelter. It was leaning against a tree had fell down, so the roots were sticking up. So I made a shelter around that, and I thatched it with old fern leaves, bracken, and so it made it waterproof. Sure. In my eyes, I was thinking, and then I asked confirmation of that night as I was working out, and Nita turned around and said, "Yes, we'd like you to bring your family to the shelter to meet the clan." And that's when we went to the shelter, all my family, my children. We didn't see anything, but we was taking photos, and some of them are hard to see. But I've counted 11 separate ones around the photographs of that shelter. Wow! All there that day. And that's when we went up to the knotted tree first on the hill that Aubergé did when he was younger, which was in the 1800s. Wow! And we had the photograph. I set my camera up. And on that camera, when I am looking through the photos, just checking, the first photo I come to, I said to my wife, I said, "What the bloody hell's this?" I said, "There's a photo on here I haven't even took." It was an half orange, this photograph. It was of the tree, of what's left of the tree, the knotted tree, which is it's like a trunk with a U coming off it. Right. And walk under. If you can understand what I mean, it's like an archway. Okay, yeah. It was just of that tree, and I zoomed in. There's a small Sasquatch standing there, and you can see the small Sasquatch. Now, they've not told me the name of that small Sasquatch, but she's a clan member. And then there's OBJ stood behind the tree, and you can more or less work out his face. He's got a tash. And that was Nita who took the photo. I don't know how the heck she did it, because she blurred the photo out bright orange, apart from the bit that's of the knotted tree, which is shaded orange as well. It's strange, because I didn't even take that photo. It was before we'd even set everything up to take the photograph, because nobody was stood around the tree. And I don't know how she projected that onto my phone. I'll send you that one as well if you like.
Sure. And I want to just tell you, anything you send Shawn and I is not going to go any further than Shawn and I.
That's fine, mate. I don't mind what you do.
Yep. We definitely we keep anonymity. We're very good about that, and I'll exchange some stuff with you as well, just to we can compare notes a little bit. Before you continue, I wanted to mention something. It's Shawn. Have you I think it's the Yurok out in Yurok tribe out in Northern California, that area. They've described. You hear some of their old stories from the natives, and they do describe what he's talking about. The ones they would see more human-like, carrying baskets with babies in them. I have heard that before, even over here.
Yes.
And there's a gentleman actually. I would really like you to connect to, and Shawn, I think you know who I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Our other friend, I think he and Garey would have a lot in common to talk about. But we'll talk about that after we stop recording.
Okay, yeah, smashing.
Had a lot of same stuff happen that you have.
Yeah.
Very similar stuff. It's just amazing.
It's turned my life around.
Sure, it does. It really does. Even if you're a believer before you see one, and after you see one, it still turns your world upside down.
Yeah, because I was a believer.
Yeah.
I thought there was animals. I thought there was just a lost species that they hadn't caught up with, or they'd caught up with, and they wasn't letting on that they'd caught up with.
Right.
I had no idea that they could do what they've done with me.
Sure. Right.
And they're a higher being. And they are a higher being, and they can do things that we could not imagine.
Yeah, we're going to agree. We agree. I know we both agree with you on that, because no matter what type you're dealing with here, you have some that are more like an animal, some that are more like a human, some that are somewhere in between. But they all, Shawn and I have come to the conclusion that they have abilities that we cannot comprehend.
Yeah, right.
There's too many things that you don't have answers for. And Shawn, as you always say, there's so many reputable people in our field that are starting to experience, like you and I talk about these. I just think they've evolved. These abilities have evolved for thousands and thousands of years. And we cannot comprehend them yet.
Millions of years.
Yeah,
exactly.
The mainstream is pretty hush about anything that's you would consider woo or anything else. If you look at the most of the TV shows and most of the big research names out there, they don't talk about that stuff because they don't want it to discredit the but it's happening. It just is happening, and that's all there is to it. And science doesn't explain it, but it probably will someday.
Yeah,
science just needs to catch up.
Maybe it needs to catch up. Or my theory is, if a government turns around to you and says, "Yes, we've got higher beings," their credibility gone like a shot, hasn't it? If there's somebody more intelligent, what are you listening to them for? Gone.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, past governments haven't wanted to be gone, but I don't want to get into politics.
That's a whole other show right there.
That's crap compared with what we're talking about.
Exactly. Right. Now, I was just going to ask you something. I forget what it was. Now, so this is these are actually, man, these are some big individuals you're talking about. That's massive. Wow. Now, Garey, if you had to put a weight on your big guy there, could you give me an estimation? Or
No, I couldn't, because that's one thing I'm no good at, weights. And I'll be
Okay.
No,
I got you.
I wouldn't have a clue. He's big.
I've always said, and we've all agreed on it. I think people underestimate the weight of these things. You take, I know the female, I saw she was a little over 7 feet, and she was about 600 pounds. I mean, and you take Robert Wadlow, that was 8'11", one of the tallest men that ever lived. And he was 500 pounds. So you take a 500-pound, fully mature Sasquatch, you're looking at an easy 1,000 pounds, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you would be, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
And if you're talking about a 15-footer, you're getting upwards of 1,200 pounds. I would guess somewhere up high like that. They're going to need calories. They're going to need at least
absolutely
10, 15,000 calories a day just to sustain.
Yes,
so you must have a lot of wild game out there, and a lot of. I mean,
it's not just that. They don't live in the same dimension as we do all the time.
Okay.
They can come between dimensions, and I'm telling you now, when they go into a different dimension, little old England isn't little old England anymore.
All right.
I've got photographs of, that photograph I was telling you about, I've got Nita and the baby in front of me. Ophalate is half and half. Nita's more in our dimension than Ophalate is.
Okay.
And I've got other photographs where they're you can barely see them. But now I know what I'm looking for, and they confirm it. They're there.
Yeah.
It's like looking at a ghost.
Wow.
They're half and half, and they can. That's when I did ask Obj. I call him Old Father Obj now, because he's been watching me feed these ants, and he's been watching me all my life. He's the one that seen me when I was 14. Nita seen me when I was 7. But I asked Obj about why are some nasty, and he said we're not all the same.
Yeah, right.
Some of us have a higher vibration than others, and some of them can't swap between the dimensions like we can. The higher your vibration, the easier it is for you to shimmer. They call it shimmering, and I got that from somebody else, not from them. This is off. It was off somebody else who can communicate with Sasquatch. I've watched it on YouTube. They call it shimmering. I've done a bit of research on it.
We're familiar.
He did confirm that for me. He did say that some of them cannot. They haven't got a high enough vibration to go into a different dimension, and they're in
right.
Sometimes can be nasty beggars.
You see, and that's I would then that brings me to a good point as far as what we were saying earlier, how some of the different types here get nasty, and I think maybe those could be the ones, something like that you're referring to.
We are. We're in the 3D. We are very dense. Everything's very dense in the 3D. You move up to a different dimension, the vibration's that high, it's more fluid. And they can walk through anything they want because they're in a different dimension, although they can. This is why Mike Patterson can get a footprint, just one bang footprint in the snow.
See, okay.
Bang in the snow and then pop back out from his own dimension, and it works like that.
Now, do you know Mike personally?
Not personally, but I have messaged him on Facebook.
Okay.
He's the guy that we were talking about getting you in contact with.
Yes, because we know Mike very well, and we. I
have sent him some of my photographs, and he said cool, and then he must be. He's a busy man. I mean, I'm a farmer.
Yeah.
I'm not going to.
No, we will get you connected with Mike because I really would like you two to talk. And
I mean, he has marbles chucked at him and all sorts. One of the other clan members, her name's Shy May, and that is Nita's younger sister. And she's I've not actually seen her. I think I've got a photograph of a face of hers, but I wouldn't like to say because it's I could be barking up the wrong tree with it, so I wouldn't send that to anybody. But I have got her footprints.
Okay.
I've had it confirmed that the Shy May, they call her Shy May. Her full name is Jerimiah.
Right.
Call her Shy May, and she's boisterous. Now, I was sat on my couch. Now, I've got 3 terriers. I've got Scuffy, Twist, and Boo. Boo's a Patterdale terrier, black terrier. She's sat next to me, and bang, something at the back of the settee shook the settee. You know, like a shove.
Yeah.
Can't be a shove because the bloody settee's up against the wall. But even my dog looked up. And I said to Boo, I said, did you feel that as well as I did? And I asked telepathically, who was it? And nobody came back to me. Nobody. I said, oh, you're playing about with me then? Anyway, I laughed it off. And it was a few minutes after Nita came through to me about something else. We was chatting away. Because you just generally chat sometimes about feelings. And she's telling me to stop thinking so much and do more with my heart. And she said, I'm always thinking, and to stop using my brain to feel her through my heart and not feel her by thinking about it, which I'm kind of getting used to now, but it's hard work. It is. Oh, yeah. Anyway, I said, need to ask you a question. And she says, what's that? And I said, who shoved my settee the other night? Who was behind my couch? She kind of giggled, and she said, that's Shy May, my sister. I knew Shy May at the time because Shy May had come through in another telepath. It was strange. I say strange. Me and my best friend, we'd put some Indian chanting music on YouTube, and it can channel your energies. And Lee lives in Gloucester, which is a few hundred miles away from me.
Do you mean, not to cut you off, do you mean Indian is in Native American or?
Yes.
Okay, yep. Shamanistic, drum, yep.
Beautiful. But I mean, it can get you into a place, can't it?
Yes, it can. I agree.
We was chatting like we're chatting now, but on Facebook. Lee said to me, I didn't have no webcams on. We were just talking. Right. And Lee's never been to this house. He went to another house that I lived in, but I've been here a few years now, and he's a trucker down Gloucester. I'm a farmer up here. Okay. And he was explaining to me what my house looked like inside. And I said, how are you doing this, Lee? He said, I don't know how I'm doing it, Garey, but I'm getting these visions through this music. And he said, I'm feeling it through the Sasquatch that you're talking to. He said, I can see you sat at your computer talking to me, and behind you in your conservatory, I'm up in the top right-hand corner looking down, and he said, all as I can see is you sat there with there's lots of heads. I'm looking from the back. So he said, I can only see the backs of these heads and massive shoulders all around you. He said, they're all right. He said, if something wanted to get to you guys, there's no chance. He said, they're surrounding you. And I felt this projection then take me up onto, because these woods around here, they have different names for them. And they've told me the names for them. Where Aubergine is, that's called Fondea. Now, I've grown up in that wood all my life, and I've known it as, if you don't mind, I'll tell you the name of it, but I don't want it broadcasting. It's called...
Okay, let me write that down so we can edit that out.
Okay. It's called... Now, the Sasquatch called that Fondea.
Okay.
And that kind of... I've been told that a different time. It was when I took the photograph of Aubergine, and I didn't know I'd taken it. And when I was driving away from the place, he projected to me this image of him on the hand side, not waving his arms at me, but in a nice way, saying, thank you for today. And he telepathed to me. He said, you've got a good photograph of me, and I'll send you this photo. They've told me it's okay with people like yourself. So I'll send you this photograph as well. Awesome. And he said, you've got a good photograph of me. And I said, thank you very much today. I've really enjoyed it on with you. And he said, well, by the way, we don't call it. Well, what do you call it then? And it just came through to me, Fondea. Yeah. I mean, where would I get that from? Fondea.
Yeah.
You know. And I said, oh, thank you very much. And as I'm driving away, it's a good few mile where Nita lives, up to her place. And then suddenly I'm saying, well, what's the name of this place then? If that's from there, what's the name of this? This is called Mazin Ra. The other wood was called Mazin Ra, and I just thought, wow. And when Lee was projecting himself here and explaining my house, they took me at the same time up to Mazin Ra, and I'm looking up at the trees, and I tell you now, there was Sasquatch in a big circle, and it looked like there should have been a fire in the middle of them. There's no fire in the middle of them, and this is what I'm seeing in my mind. But the pine trees, I looked up, and you couldn't see the tops of these pine trees, and I'm projected up there with them, and it was strange. And the next morning, that's when Shy May first telepathed with me, and she said, I wanted to telepath last night, but the elders wouldn't let me. So they're all asleep now after your celebrations last night, and now I can telepath with you. And this was early in the morning. She was bang, she was straight in there, because Nita's told me that Shy May is a bit of a joker. She's a bit of a boisterous, a tomboy, if you will. She's a girl, but she has a joke, and that was her shoving the back of my couch. Everything ties in, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Very, 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 very interesting. Cool. Yeah, and you're right. You do in certain groups. You do get the jokers. You know, they like to play around, and you know,
waiting for something to be thrown at me, like Mike said, but I've not had it thrown at me yet. You do seem to have the ones that like to, you know, be the little tricksters, and you know, and people, you know, there's, like we were saying earlier, I mean, there's just so many, there's different types of these things, and people have to understand that all these types are going to exhibit different behaviors, you know. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, you can't go out there. Even now, I mean, I'm not going to go out there blazy and say, oh, yeah, I'm here. Where are you? You've got to go out there and have respect and
absolutely
not go hunting.
Right.
You know, I don't go hunting. I don't go hunting for them. I'm a bit fed up sometimes if I come home and there's nothing on my photographs, and I think, oh well. But then, if I've not had, it's strange, if I've not had anything on my photographs, I've normally had some sort of interaction. I had a love projection from Nita one day, and I didn't have nothing on my photographs when I got home. But that love projection that day, I was walking back down the trail. I was walking away. I was coming home. I kept hearing this whistle of a bird, but it wasn't a bird that I recognised. And when I stopped, it stopped whistling. So I carried on. It whistled again. So I whistled back. Anyway, then the whistling started to move away from me. So instead of going back home like I was going, I started walking back up the track and followed the whistle. I came to this clearing on the dry stone wall, and I just leant on the clearing with my dogs, and I smoked one of them e-cigarettes, so I'm just having a puff on that. And bang, this love projection, I don't know how they do it, but I just felt love for absolutely everything that was surrounding me. It was unbelievable amount of energy and love that hit me. And it just took my breath away, and when I was looking through the photos, when I looked through the photos, didn't see anything. I thought, well, that doesn't really matter, because that was something special that happened today.
That's very cool.
You can definitely tell.
They like you a lot.
Yes, it does. Go ahead.
Sorry,
Shawn.
I didn't.
No, Shawn was just saying. Sounds like they're very fond of you.
Yeah, well, like Nita said, we've grown up together. We've grown up together, and the memories started to slowly come back. Well, when this first started to all take off, I was in touch with Laura and with Lee, and I told my wife about bits and bobs of it at first. I mean, my wife's a Filipina, so she believes in all sorts in the Philippines.
Oh, sure, yeah.
I used to sit around and tell, when I was out there, I'd say, oh, don't talk to Daft, that doesn't exist. And now it's me saying, I'm sorry. Yeah, I do believe you now. And I'd tell Jo about it, and she'd be, well, let's have a look on the photos. And when I was showing her, yeah, I can see what you're on about. So it was all confirming it to me, and it just took everything in my life to another level.
Yes, it does. And Shawn and I would definitely both agree with that.
Yep.
It changes a lot. It does. It changes your life. It really does.
It changes your life.
For sure. Then that's for sure.
It's not that much happened in a short space of time that it's hard to. I've written it all down. I should really get it down a bit better than I have. I will do one day, maybe.
Take notes and you know.
Yeah, I do take notes, mate. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, all the time. Every time something happens, I'm jotting it down. So.
Let me ask you a question, Garey. Have you now? I've had an issue. Okay, my wife and I, we lived down on our primary research spot for a year, and you know, it took a couple of months. We had a family, and we figure, you know, from the tracks, you know, we did see a few of them visually, but from tracks, you can tell an individual creature by the tracks, you know.
Yeah.
So it's a group from anywhere from 5 to 7 of them. Anyway, it would take a couple of months. It took a couple of months for them to get used to us, you know. I don't think at first they were too happy we were there, you know, but they did get used to us. Got to a point where, you know, there was a female would come in at night and let her babies play in front of the camper, and I'll send you the footprints. I'll send you the pictures of the track. And I'm talking about little toddler size. But anyway, I wanted to ask you, you know, one night I brought, and it was a mistake I made. I shouldn't have done it. I brought a gentleman down there with me.
Yeah.
And I told him, listen, now I know in the U.S. we do carry firearms in the woods. We have other stuff we have to worry about. You know, we have wild animals and stuff. Yeah. I told him, no, do not bring a long gun with you, because I think they're gonna, number one, they don't know who you are. Number two, it could go one of two ways. If you want to see one of these things, they're not going to show themselves if they see a shotgun or a rifle, most of the time. Well, he whipped out. He ended up bringing a shotgun, and I think I told you about this, Shawn. That's he had a few beers in him, and we're sitting by camp, and he pulls out his Mossberg, and I said, "What are you doing? I told you not to bring it." And he's drunk at this point. He all of a sudden, I'm standing there, and he pulls the trigger, and let the buckshot go right by the tree I'm standing next to. And I said, "What the hell are you doing?" And he said, "Well, I just wanted to see if it was loaded." I said, "By pulling the trigger?" But anyway, my point I'm trying to get at is these things they had gotten used to Stacy and I at this time, and they were, you know, I think they got extremely, extremely upset that this individual did this.
Yeah. For
one, you know, with the long gun, and for two, almost killing me, you know. Yeah. So at that very moment, to our left of this spring, we hear a tree go over, you know, snap, crack, and you could hear it. One was pushing it over, let out a vocalization, and from the other side of the pond, which is probably 60 feet across, about a 4-foot log comes flying and lands about 2 feet right in front of the shoreline. So I definitely think that irritated him. He did. I don't think they liked him. They can they pick up on your vibes, on your energy, you know. And my point, you know, with that story was, have you ever brought anyone else with you, and have they gotten upset aside from your family?
No, I've only ever taken my family.
Okay.
We don't have firearms anyway.
No, I understand that. Yeah, but I think they were more upset at the point that you know, they didn't like them. You know. Yeah.
Well, my friend's going to come up and visit. My best friend Lee.
Yeah.
I've also invited Laura sometime when we can actually.
Yeah. Right.
For a wander about.
She's got good energy, so I don't think they'll mind her. Yeah.
No. but I will always ask. Pardon me.
Okay.
I will always ask.
I got you.
Or Auberge, whoever I telepath to, because
Yes.
sometimes when I start to telepath, I don't know which one I'm going to end up telepathing to.
Okay.
It's only them that when they come through to me, I'll know who it is. If I'm asking, sometimes they won't respond to you, and another one will come.
Yeah. Okay.
I always ask their permission, no matter what I do. No matter what I do.
We've heard Mike told us very similar things. Now,
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't have that ability to telepath with them. But my thought is, there's human beings that can do it, so why wouldn't these things be able to,
I think different people and different animals can tap into different senses, and they all have different abilities. And
absolutely. Well, my Shawn knows my wife very well, and she's a medium of sorts, and she had an encounter with a large male that she kind of telepath with. So people can do it. It just
It's hard to get used to tell you the truth. Very hard, especially when you never think that you're able to do that.
Able to do it, yeah.
Like I say, it was Ophala who initiated me to be able to with the green eyes that afternoon.
Okay.
And I've learned afterwards that he's very good at doing that. That's his forte. Apart from hunting, he's very mind talk, and he can initiate somebody, because you start off in the brain, but you end up in the heart. That's where they want you to communicate from, not the brain. The brain is an organizer.
Sure.
It's the heart that you need to feel with, and I'm starting to learn that. And it is when you feel that love projection, and it almost blows your heart in half. It's so.
Sure.
And that's what they want. I mean, that's part of the healing of the earth. They want.
Sure.
More people that feel this, the earth is she feels better herself. And I don't want to start ending up like a tree hugger, because I'm not a tree hugger.
No. I don't look at you that way. No.
Experiencing something very different in my life.
It's different. Yeah.
I'm going with it.
Yeah.
No. Well, Garey, can you do us a favor and when your friend comes out or when Laura comes out, if anything else happens extraordinary, would you keep in contact with us and let us, maybe come back on? And
we'd love to have you come back on, Garey, if you
do a further show.
Yeah.
Could I talk about a little bit?
Listen, if you got more you want to mention, we got a few more minutes. Go right ahead.
Well, I was going to go back to my first encounter that I had not a clue about.
Okay.
I was on the phone to my friend Lee Hardy, my best friend. I've known him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 50 years old now, and I've known Lee since I was about 6.
Okay.
We've been through hell and back together. And I was telling him what Nita was saying to me, and he said, "Gaz, I've known you all these years, and I know full well you are having mind talk. You are having this experience, and it's real."
Garey, you still there?
Yeah. I thought I could hear somebody talking in.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was weird. Yeah, there was some
feedback. That was weird. I saw the look on your face, and it was very interesting. Did they come across? Did they come through to you?
No, that's something else. Talk. That's somebody listening in. That.
Oh, wow.
Well, yeah, this Zoom app is kind of glitchy. Once in a while, we get weird stuff happening with it.
Anyway, if you want to listen, you're quite welcome to listen. Bollocks. Sorry, no, they can listen. Anyway, go back to the what I was talking about with my mate.
Yeah.
I was telling him what Nita was saying, that I had earlier memories, and he said, I said, "I can't remember him, mate." He said, "Gaz, you did." He said, "There was a memory when we was very young." He said, "How old was we?" He said, "I'm sure we was about 7." He said, "You came back because my dad where all this happened, my dad had a caravan, and he was a gamekeeper where we had the caravan, and we used to go up there a weekend and stay with him and all that lot, and he'd be gamekeeping, and I came back to school, and I'd said to my friend, and I couldn't remember this, it was him who had told me, He said, you were scared one time. And he said, you looked out the little bedroom window, which was an half moon shape, and you could see eyes looking back at you throughout. You could only open them halfway, so you couldn't fall out the window because it's a bunk bedroom, too high. And mine was on the bottom bunk, so I've opened the window halfway, and I could see two eyes looking at me and the bridge of a nose. And he said, you was very scared. This is Lee telling me. And afterwards, the visions started to come of Nita. It was Nita's eyes looking at me when I was a kid of 7 years old. That's when she looked at me through the bedroom window. And then other images came back of going down the woods. I called it down the bottom field. And it was where the caravan was. You go through a little wooded area, and then you come to bottom field, and the big woods, massive woods. All right, not as big as yours, but in my eyes, it was massive. I was 7.
Right.
And I was down there, and my first vision that she gave to me was her peering from behind a tree, and I'm thinking, who are you? And that was the first image that came to me. And then after, I've had 2 more images. The second image was I remember making a dam out of mud and rocks. But these rocks were huge. Yeah. And it was Nita who was actually putting the rocks on the dam with me. But she was a lot stronger than me at 7. But she was a girl as well, because she's not much older than me. She's only a bit older than me.
Okay.
But she was a fair bit taller. And I remember her putting these massive rocks on this dam as I was a kid. And I got a right bollocking off my mum because I come home absolutely covered in mud, making this dam in this stream out of mud and rocks. I've been playing in the woods with my friend. What friend? Anyhow, that was that. But it was Nita who I was playing with. And she said, these memories will slowly come back to you. And that's why... that's why they've been watching me all my life, and it's why I feel so at one with the woods. I've always been safe there, but a part of it, they had to let me go. They had to let me go and just be a human. And they was Sasquatch, and I went and did my silly things, getting drunk as a teenager, not respecting things, and then they waited until I was 50 years old before they came back and said, right, well, we'll start communicating with you now you've grown up. It took 50 years to grow up.
Well, you're very, very lucky to have such pleasant experiences. I know Shawn and I, our first, experiences were a little disturbing. But then again, dealing with different types,
Oh, yeah.
And it's all that a lot of factors involved, And I think I agree with you 100% on the, and Shawn, you and I have talked about this before as well. You hear certain things, and I think, after a while, your subconscious will store them in the back of your mind, but later on, they will come back to you.
Yes.
Even with my encounters, things still come to me every now and then that I do not remember happening during the encounter themselves. Yeah. I think it's, your subconscious, it's a self-preservation thing. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
you're 100% right there. Yeah.
Absolutely. But yeah, Garey, listen, we appreciate it, man. I mean,
absolutely.
You're welcome. I've been looking forward to this.
Yeah, man, you are.
Getting it off my chest, but talking about it with somebody that, things have happened to,
Yes,
and,
it helps. It does.
Laura's been a great help. My wife's been a great help. My best friend's been the best help I've ever had in my life. But my best friend, I don't see him. He's on the other side of a phone or on the other side of Facebook. So maybe once a year we'll catch up.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get here, but no, it's great.
It does help. Yeah. I know. When Shawn and I, we first started out, with the JRG, and when we connected, it was nice to, finally get with guys that, have had similar experiences, and it really does help. It helps you deal with it,
does, yeah, because sometimes you do think you're going mad.
You go absolutely. Yep, for sure. And that's why we always tell people that if you're out there and you're not, and you think you've seen one, you're not crazy. They do exist.
No.
And Shawn put it perfect. If a man or woman has done their time, spent their time out in the field, done their and experienced these things, that gives them, in our opinion, that gives anyone the right to get on our show and talk and just speak your piece.
Thank you very much for that.
Absolutely.
A lot of these researchers out there, that host these shows like Shawn and I are, they're very what am I trying to say, Shawn?
Buttholes?
Yeah, pretty much. Very close-minded.
Yeah.
Where Shawn,
people are trying to make money and it's wrong. I suppose. I don't know.
Shawn and I do this because it's a passion, and we like educating and hearing other people's experiences and helping people. That's why we do it.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly why we do it. But it's been unfortunately we're running out of time.
Yeah.
But Garey, would you like to come back on at some point?
Oh yes, spot on. I mean, I don't know how this works when you've edited it. I mean,
what I can do tonight, I can send you this raw copy tonight.
Yeah.
And then when our editor gets done with it, I'll send you the edited version with the music and the intro, outro music and all that.
Would I be able to share that with my friend Lee?
You can share it with anyone you want, man.
All right, spot on. Yeah, that'd be nice.
Anyone you want. It's your show, man. You share it with anyone you want. And we post them anyway.
Yeah.
So,
that's great.
And I'll send you the link to our our Podbean channel and stuff. So you can check out our other shows and stuff. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. I know Shawn did as well. So
yep.
Spot on. So yeah, maybe next time I was thinking when we get our tech guy with us, we can do a lot. If you wouldn't mind if you were up for a live session, that would be pretty interesting.
I mean, I'll get some better clothes on next time.
Yeah, same here.
I've just come back. I've been out all day with my wife today, and we've had a nice day. There was places today that things happened, but we won't go into it now.
Well, we'll save that for the next one.
Yeah.
We'll continue from that point on.
Okay. Yeah.
But Garey, we appreciate it, man. It was a pleasure. It was an honor.
Pleasure for me as well.
You're a really you're a classy gentleman and good guy, and I truly believe that you're dealing with some pretty interesting things.
Yeah. And
sure.
I like to hear from other people as well that have had all kinds of experiences with Sasquatch.
Absolutely. Well, we'll talk a little bit, on Messenger and stuff, and we're more than willing to share some stuff with you.
Okay. Yep. Well, I'll send you some of my photographs. I mean, how quick?
Okay.
Do you want them now?
Yeah, whenever you get a chance tonight, I'll send you some tonight as well on Messenger. And but we enjoyed it, Garey. We really did, man.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, and it was just phenomenal. And hang out for a minute after I stop the recording.
Okay, yeah, I will do.
Don't leave right away. But yeah, and good night to y'all out there. This has been Shawn and I once again on the trail in search of living legends. And you know how to get a hold of us. I mentioned it earlier. Want to come on the show, or you want to talk, or you have a problem you need dealing with. We're more than happy to help you in any way we can. That's why we do this stuff.
Absolutely.
Anyway, everyone have a good evening. And we will have this show posted to social media very shortly. And you will all find this show very interesting, I am sure. So, and we will get you, I'll get into that after I stop. But anyway, everyone have a good night out there. Be safe. You're going out in the woods. Be wary. Try not to disrespect them. And for those of you here in the U.S., the number one piece of advice Shawn and I can give you is never point a gun at one.
Yep.
Because that could be the last thing you ever do. With the certain types we've got here,